Om Namo Narayani. Good morning, good evening, wherever we are joining in from. I hope you have your own copies of the chants for today from Sri Lalitha. I think Natalie's been very busy. It will be posted later for this week's, the names we are going through. Let us begin with our prayers for the class. Jnana-rūpāya vidmahi Shakti amsaya dhīmahi Tanno Shakti amma prachodayāt. Om Jnana-rūpāya vidmahi Shakti amsaya dhīmahi Tanno Shakti amma prachodayāt. Om Jnana-rūpāya vidmahi Shakti amsaya dhīmahi Tanno Shakti amma prachodayāt. Om Sarva-mangala-mangalye Shive sarvārtha-sadhike Śaranye Trambake Gauri Narayani Namostute. Om Sarva-mangala-mangalye Shive sarvārtha-sadhike Śaranye Trambake Gauri Narayani Namostute. Om Sarva-mangala-mangalye Shive sarvārtha-sadhike Śaranye Trambake Gauri Narayani Namostute. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu Mavid Vishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Dhyanam Sindhuraruna Vigraham Trinayanamanikya-maulisphurattaranayaka Shekharam Smitamukhim apina Vakshuruham Panibhyam Ratna Chashakam Raktotpalam Bibhratim Saumyam Ratna Ghatastha Rakta Charanam Dhyayet Paramambikam Dhyayet Padmasanastham Vikasita Vadanam Padmapatra Yatakshim Hemabham Pita Vastram Karakalita Lasat Hema Padmam Varangim Sarvalankara Yuktam Satatam Abhayadam Bhaktanam Ram Bhavani Shri Vidyam Shantamurtim Sakala Suranutam Sarva Sampat Pradatrim Sakumkuma Vilepanam Chumbikasturikam Samanda Hasitekshanam Sachara Chapa Pasyankusam Asesha Janamohini Marunamalya Bhushojvalam Japa Kusuma Bhasuram Japa Vidhau Smaredambikam Arunam Karunatarangitakshim Dhrutapasyankusha Pushpabana Chapam Animadhibhiravratam Mayukhairahamityeva Vibhavaye Mahisi. Om Aim Hrim Shreem Om Namo Narayani. Today is week 19. We will be looking at Sri Lalitha's names, her 124th to her 130th names. And let us begin with her 124th name. Om Shreem śarvānyai namah swaha. Om Shreem śarvānyai namah swaha. There should be a dot under the N, so it's not na but na. There is a stress on that na sound. Śarvānyai. Om Shreem śarvānyai namah swaha. Om Shreem śarvānyai namah swaha. Om Shreem. Salutations to Sri Lalitha, who is the consort of Sarva, Shiva. Sarva is another name for Shiva. And Sarva also means all. We see Sarva. Sarva is among all the different forms of Shiva. It's said that there are 8 different forms, which is the Panchabhutas, or the 5 forms, the soul, the sun, the moon. And of these Panchabhutas, Sarva refers to earth. So she is the consort of Sarva, Sarvānyai. And she is the ruler, the totality, the earth aspect of Shiva. Sarvānyai is all, totality, all the forms. She is everything beyond the forms, the totality, Sarvānyai. And so we have seen her in many other ways as totality, and this name brings forth her totality in another perspective as Sarvānyai. We look at her 125th name. Om Shreem śarmadāyinyai namah swaha. Om Shreem śarmadāyinyai namah swaha. Namah swaha. Om Shreem śarmadāyinyai namah swaha. Namah swaha. Om Shreem śarmadāyinyai namah swaha. Om Sreem śarmadāyinyai namah swaha. Salutations, Om Sreem, to Sri Lalitha, who is the bestower of happiness. Sarma means happiness, Sarma means all good things. So, how to describe her? She is everything that is good, she is everything that is the best, and there are, even though it seems like it's redundant, but there are unlimited ways of just describing her goodness. And Sharma is also seen as it's a common name in India. In some places it's like a family name, and that Sharma represents that all good things. And again we will see Shri, which is again all good things. So śarmadāyinyai, she bestows. Dayini is someone who gives. śarmadāyinyai, she gives, she bestows happiness and all good things. Sarva. We will look at her 126th name. Om Sreem śāṅkaryai namah swaha. 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 Om Sreem. Salutations to Sri Lalitha, who is Sankari, the consort of Shankara, another name for Shiva, who is inseparable from her. So we see Shiva and Shakti are inseparable, one without the other. And Shankar, Sankari. And Sankari has again many depths and meanings to it. Shankar's consort, Sankari. Shankaram is, and that name of Shiva, Shankaram, Shankar, Sankari, they come from Mangalam. Another word for Mangalam, auspiciousness, is Shankaram, Sankari, all that she is all that auspiciousness. Shankaram is happiness again, like Sharma, Shankaram is happiness, auspiciousness. Is another name for Rudra, an aspect of Shiva. Again, Sankari comes for that. And these names are all like śarvānyai, śarmadāyinyai, śāṅkaryai, śrīkaryai. So it's all in the poetic form of starting with the all the following names. And we will see that as we go along, when a certain, the word starts with a certain alphabet that sound, then the many names follow in that same starting, the sh here. And the next one we will see, 127th name, Om Shreem śrīkaryai namah swaha. Om Shreem śrīkaryai namah swaha. Om Shreem śrīkaryai namah swaha. namah swaha. Om Sreem śrīkaryai namah swaha. Om Sreem. Salutations to Sri Lalitha, who is the consort of Vishnu, who brings prosperity to devotees. So Sri, we keep coming across Sri so many times. Sri represents all that aspect of the qualities, the lakshanas of Lakshmi, which is all the Sri, which is the wealth, the beauty, the prosperity, all the mangalangal, the auspiciousness, everything good again is Sri. And it is used in so many ways, like even before names of deities, it is Sri Lakshmi, Sri Durga, Sri Saraswati, Sri Mahalakshmi, Sri Shakti Amma, and sometimes, all enlightened beings, masters, so many names. You see, Sri, all the masters, if you look, it is Sri preceding their name. And sometimes it is extended Sri La Sri, meaning Sri upon Sri, more and more of Sri. It's like an adulation of more of the Sri. And when any auspicious invitations or anything is given, the lady of the house is referred to as Sri so-and-so. Sri Srimati, the man of the house, the lady of the house, Sri and Srimati. So every prefix that is given with Sri is like the adulations of all the auspiciousness that Sri is. All the goodness, all the possible prosperity, everything. And Śrīkaryai, Kar is the action, who does it, like karma is action. Kari is one who does all the auspicious things. So all the auspicious things arise from her. Everything she does in creation, whatever she does, Sri Lalitha Narayani is only Sri. It is only śrīkaryam. In fact, when we receive letters from Pedam or something, it'll say in śrīkaryam. It is in service of Sri, in service of the divine. The divine is referred to as Sri in all across. Every form is Sri this, Sri that. Her next name, Śrīkaryai, is again has another representation. It is, we will see later, like Narayana are like it's not the consort here, but like the brother and sister. That is not the equivalent in other things. And Vishnu and Mahalakshmi is Śrīkara and Sri is Śrīkaryai. So all things auspicious that is done is Śrīkaryai. She does that. 128th name, Om Sreem Sādhvyai namah swaha. Om Sreem Sādhvyai namah swaha. Om Sreem Sādhvyai namah swaha. Namah swaha. Om Sreem Sādhvyai namah swaha. Sadhvi, Om Sreem. Salutations to Sri Lalitha, who's the paragon of virtue. Sadhvi can mean beautiful, the chaste, the purity, the ultimate purity, Sadhvi. And it is also something very soft and delicate and very pure. And there are many descriptions of her as we come across her, and it represents that purity, that essence of that beauty in that of Sri Lalitha Narayani. And these are all names given, and you will find Sankari as Sankari. You'll find śarvānyai, sādhvyai. These are all names given to children in houses as well as daughters are born. All these different names from Sri Lalitha Sahasranamam are often given to the children. So it's like whenever they are calling the children, not only are they calling the child's name, but they are constantly repeating the divine's name. And it's a mantra in itself. So it keeps creating the vibes of the divine. And as you see in many homes, it's the divine's names that is given to the children. And it is with a purpose so that that goodness is said aloud every day in the names. And it keeps bringing in that energy, that quality, the vibrations in the house, in the person, in our thoughts. So all these names, people, when they are going to have their child, they go through the Sahasranamam to see which name they want to select for their child. And we will look now at her 129th name. Om Sreem śarac-candra-nibhānanāyai namah swaha. Om Sreem śarvānyai 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 namah swaha. Om Sreem. Salutations to Sri Lalitha, whose face shines like the autumn moon. And Sharad, we saw earlier, is also represents the rainy season, Sharad. And śarac-candra, it's describing the moon just after the rainy seasons, when the sky is clear and the moon shines brilliantly in that clear sky in that season. And it's all the clouds have cleared and the sky is clear, crystal clear, and the moon is resplendently bright and radiant. And we saw earlier how her forehead is like the 8th moon face. So it's like half, almost like in this shape, full there and then almost full, but not yet. So there will be many descriptions of the moon related to her. And the śarac-candra-nibhānanāyai, whose face shines like the autumn moon. And this shining, this light, is that light that clears all the ignorance and brings in the wisdom, the light of wisdom, the light of beauty, the light of purity, the light of joy that dispels everything that is ignorant and that is not her. So once you see that full resplendent moon without any, you don't know, you can't explain it, but the mind feels happy, the heart feels happy. If you notice that beauty, the moon is related to the mind and it brings that quality of that tranquility, that beauty and that serenity that is associated with the moon. And her face is so beautiful as in that clear sky, the brilliant moon. Her 130th name, Om Sreem Sādhvyai namah swaha. 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 Om Sreem. Salutations to Sri Lalitha, who has a very slender waist. Sādhvyai is someone with a slender waist. And in her 35th name, we again came across her description of her waist, which is like it's almost absent. You have to kind of guess it is there. That fine hair, Roma Valley that starts, you think that is where the waist should be because it's almost invisible. So this description of a slender waist you will see in many sculptures as well. Extremely slender waist, the feminine and the full form of her. And this description, it may seem like it's been mentioned before, it's repetitive, but there are nuances to these things. Like we saw, a lot of the names in this week and some from the previous week are starting with Sir. And as we are saying each name, they build up the sound of Sir, and it has a deeper significance of the mantra and the sound that is embedded in it, that what the vibration it brings up within us and in the environment as we chant. And the next names are all like sequentially very similar, even though they are very short, easier to pronounce, except for the 129th, which was a bit longer. The names are one word, and each word has a lot of depth than what we are saying. There's more than that to it. And we will sing them all, chant them together, 124 to 130. Om Sreem śarvānyai namah swaha. Om Sreem śarmadāyinyai namah swaha. Om Sreem śāṅkaryai namah swaha. Om Sreem śrīkaryai namah swaha. Om Sreem sādhvyai namah swaha. Om Sreem śarac-candra-nibhānanāyai namah swaha. Om Sreem sādhvyai namah swaha. Once more, we will repeat, chant the names for this week. Om Sreem śarvānyai namah swaha. Om Sreem śarmadāyinyai namah swaha. Om Sreem Sankari namah swaha. Om Sreem śrīkaryai namah swaha. Om Sreem sādhvyai namah swaha. Om Sreem śarac-candra-nibhānanāyai namah swaha. Om Sreem sādhvyai namah swaha. Om Namo Narayani. Today we finished earlier. Is there any questions? Do you have any questions? We had sent a recording from 1 to 23, 24 last week, the recording. At 35 and 85, there were some recording disturbances and a little bit got chopped off at 85. If any of you have any other problems, you can do a recording later. But for now, I hope it helps you to become familiar to chant the mantras and become familiar with the names we have been following with the yagam so far. And each day builds up with her beauty. And for the West, today 5th and East yesterday was the 21st anniversary celebrations for Narayani. The big Narayani was the Kumbhabhishekam. She was installed, consecrated 21st anniversary, so 22 years ago, I think. And Amma was doing Abhishekam for her, and it was, in the end, it was like she was full of just the kumkum alankaram. She was like whole head to toe, she was just red in the kumkum, and it's like Sri Lalitha in the Sarva-arunāyai namah swaha. That is that Aruna, that kumkum is so special for the goddess. It represents such deep things, all the spaciousness, all the Shri, all that Narayani is in that. Lalita, Narayani, Lalita is in that kumkum. It is very extremely special. Very beautiful it was. I don't know if it's posted in the Facebook. If you want to, you can go and watch the Abhishekam. Amma does Abhishekam to big Narayani. Amma herself comes and does big Abhishekam to big Narayani only 3 days of the whole year. And one is big Narayani's Kumbhabhishekam day, which was 5th. They follow the the Tidhi, the moon phase, and the nakshatra, so the day may vary each year. And the next one she does is, which should be coming soon again, is Mahashivaratri. In the night, Amma comes and does Abhishekam to Narayani. And she is Shiva at the end of that Abhishekam. When you look at Narayani, you wonder what happened to that beautiful goddess, the feminine Narayani. You see the Shiva there. It is mind-blowing. And then Amma does Abhishekam to her on the 10th day of the Sharad Navaratri, the October-November time frame, the Navaratri that comes, which is celebrated very grandly. The Vijayadasami day, the victorious day after the Navaratris. Amma comes and does the Abhishekam to Big Narayani on Vijayadasami day. And all through the year, every day, Amma does Abhishekam to Mangala Narayani, but Big Narayani herself receives the Abhishekam from Amma only these 3 days of the whole year. And each day her face changes. If you go in and sit, Narayani, every day her face is very different. It's like you can see it's an individual experience. Her expression changes, her smile, her eyes, her look. Even her physical appearance seems to change every day as you go and see her face and her form. It's like very different each day. It's the living divinity there. I'm waiting for any questions. And if there are no questions, we can end the recording. But if there are questions, we can continue with the recording. Bhagya, yeah. And as we chant the mantra, and some chant it just becoming familiar with the names, but if each of these names brings to your mind's eye the meaning, you can visualize her deeper and deeper. And when that visualization also accompanies the chanting, your connection with the divine becomes stronger and deeper. In one of the questions in Connect with the Divine, a devotee is asking, Amma, we have so many thoughts. How do we know when these thoughts are from my own mind or these are from the divine? How do I differentiate that? And we all go through these questions. So is it my mind coming up with it? It's my smaller I or the ego or my logical mind that's coming up with it? Or am I hearing it from the universe, from the divine? And Amma says, as your connection with the divine becomes stronger and stronger, you will not have this confusion. You'll be clear on which is the other thought that is your personal thought and which is coming from the divine. So when we connect with the divine and we are constantly in that state of that connection with the divine, and it's only the universe that flows through us with grace and ease. So all the confusions and all the fears, the doubts and the roller coasters of the days just fall away because they may be there, but they're not significant anymore. It is the connection with that divine that leads us through each day, and it brings with it that peace and that joy, because the rest seem, yeah, it is there, that's part of life, and you go through it with that equanimity, with that courage, with that joy that becomes unwavering. And that is our journey for each of the soul, to head back to that union with that one soul. And even though it seems very customized, the generality is how we, each of us, process it to develop that deep, solid connection, unwavering connection with the divine. May we pray that Sri Lalitha Narayani blesses us with that deep, deep connection with the divine in our lives. Om Namo Narayani. We have a question. What is the meaning for Simha Saneshwari? Simha, this is in the third name, in the beginning. Om Shreem Shri Matre Namah swaha. Shri Maharajnyai Namah swaha. Om Simha Saneshwaryai Namah swaha. Simha is lion. The lioness in the animal, the king of the forest, the lion. And asana is the seat. So Simhasana is the throne. If you see thrones, we mentioned, it has, on the armrest, will have two lion heads there. And it denotes the empress is seated on the throne. And Ishwari is that the Lordess of the whole of the creation, who is seated on this lion throne. Simhasanam represents the throne. And who sits on the throne? The empress, the emperor, the empress, the ruler sits on it. And she's seated on this throne. And the lion has that courage. It's called the king of the forest. With that energy, Durga is with that lion. You need that power, that courage, that strength to rule people. You need that commandment, that commanding demeanor. It's not like you have to develop it. It just comes out of naturally. It is inherent. When you have to rule, it comes. And she in that throne is so majestic, so commanding. And she is the same one who is attracted to, who's reached through devotion. And through devotion, she becomes like a little child with you. And she's that empress who commands the whole universe. It is hers, it's her creation. And at the same time, she's that soft, sweet, childlike sweetness when you go to her with that devotion, when you go to her with reverence, as a devotee, as a child. We saw there are so many different bhavas, the expressions through which you connect with her. And each has its the relationship, like we see within humanity, with other relations, what we have, the nuances to the relationships, can have all these with the divine, and it just hones and purifies our inner processes to that sādhvyai, that purity, that removes all the that interfere in that purity of that refinement of that relationship with her. Another question, I'm trying to understand the deep meaning of śarvānyai song to connect with śarvānyai. It's a song, it's a very famous song. And it goes back to the Sri Chakra formation, the yantra, which is the totality of the universe, describing from the bindu, all the triangles, all these geometrical shapes. And it is talking about, it is describing the same aspect of Sri Lalitha Narayani, Simha Saneshwari. It is the same description in that song. Does that help you? Sri Chakra Raja Simha Saneshwari, Sri Lalitam Vigaye. Simha Saneshwari, Sri Lalitam Vigaye, Bhuvaneshwari. Agama Veda Kalamaya Akila chara Janani Narayani. So Naga Kankana Nataraja Manohari. So each of these words you'll find repeated in this as well. So Agama, Veda, all the scriptures, everything they emanate from her, they describe her only for us to go back and reach her again. And all this, the Samayacharam we saw, all the worship and all the different details we do in the form of worship are all different ways to weave in these different aspects of the human mind, our thoughts, our existence, to connect with her, to become one with her, to understand that Sri Chakram, people spend many lifetimes. They are born again to master the essence, the understanding of the Sri Chakram. And Sri Puram is created in the form of the Sri Chakram. If you see the aerial view, you can see the chakra form of the whole temple. And it imbibes the energy from the cosmos, so it can give us that energy to help us connect with that source more easily. Yeah. And she tries to, Amma has come to make it so much more easier for us to do all these. And many, down the ages, these texts are there and people follow it. There are schools of teachings, these Agamam, Vedam, all these, how to reach the divine. But we are so blessed that the divine herself has come in the human form to teach us directly, and she makes it sweet and simple. It is not hard. If you go through the books and try to understand it, it is like going through college education, the exams and passing through the exams and the certifications, all that, so much procedure and effort. Here she makes it so simple. Just connect with her. This unbelievable opportunity. Once I was there in Pedam, I had the book on the Tripura Sundari. You know, there is the three, that is Tripurantam, that is burnt, and there are lots of details. Like if you look in the Sri Chakram, each line represents so many different devis and their shaktis, and it goes inner and so many petals. It's like so much knowledge in that, and so much of wisdom in that, and so much of divinity and shaktis in that. And each form has so many shaktis and gifts in each aspect of the periphery. And as you get go closer and closer to the center, it's like, it reminds me of, you know, these children playing the games. You qualify for the next level, they're fast, and then the sword comes, you have to overcome this, and then go to the next level, and then to the next level. And as you go closer, it gets tougher and tougher. And it's like going to the core of her. It's like you imbibe, honor all these in the process. To ultimately to reach her, you have to let go of everything. And the toughest in that is letting go of this self-identity, the ego. And this is a process in our life that we go through. As long as our priority, our focus is connected with the divine, the rest falls into place. If that priority is not there, then it gets scattered with the many possibilities, opportunities, distractions around us. Until you focus on that central goal, and that is like the anchor that determines the rest of the life, that determines what joins and what falls off, where your energies go, where you defocus and move away. So it is this journey. And if the journey is with the awareness, it makes it a beautiful journey. Om Namo Narayani. Shall we end the recording?